was recently having a conversation with someone, and I was asking the person what kind of job she would want to do because this person has been out of work for quite a while. So I just wanted to know the kind of things she was interested in, her skills, so I could speak to one or two people on her behalf and know if they can help. And while I was having this conversation with her, she said something that struck me. She said that she wasn't interested in sending out her CVs anymore, that she had done that a couple of times and it didn't work out. So at the point where she was, that she believes that what is hers would come to her and she doesn't really need to stress it. So she doesn't want to send out her CVs anymore. My name is Jennifer Ohanwe. Here on my channel, I talk about oral health, and life in general. So when she said that to me, it made deep sense to me. The fact that what is mine would come to me. I don't have to stress it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to put in effort. I could just sit it out to happen to me. And this reminds me of a story that my dad usually told us. It's a story of two brothers. So let's assume one is Ojo and the other one is Haman. So these two brothers went to a soothsayer or a fortune teller to tell them what the future had in stock for them. So the fortune teller looks at Ojo and says, "You're going to be very rich. You're going to be stupendously wealthy. You're going to have a lot of money. Things are going to work out in your favor and all." And then he looks at Haman and says to him, "You're going to be poor. You're going to suffer. Things are not going to go on well for you." So the both of them lived there, Ojo feeling very excited, very happy, while Haman was feeling very downcast, very emotionally drained and very disappointed. So Haman swore that he was going to work really hard to change the tides in his favor, and he started working hard. He started putting in all his efforts, to change the course of his life. Whereas Ojo, in excitement and happiness, went and sat underneath a tree, waiting for his fortune to find him. Listening to this story, you and I can tell who eventually became stupendously wealthy and who ended up wretched, right? This is not to argue on the issue of predestination or what life has in store for people. The point here is that for everything we want to achieve, there's a room for putting in effort, right? When I hear people say that what is mine will come to me, I do not argue that. Of course, that is right. What is yours should come to you. But that is also an incomplete statement. What is yours would come to you when you put in the effort that allows it to find you. It's not enough to say, "Oh, I'm looking for a job, so I just stay back at home. I refuse to send out my CVs. I refuse to seek for jobs that fit into my qualification. I refuse to talk to people, to network." I cannot say that I want a job and that my job is going to come to me if I don't put in the effort, right? So let's say you're a student and you decide that you're going to make very, very good grades in school so that you can graduate with distinctions. And then you start out, with high energy, very motivated. But then you write your tests and your continuous assessments and they're not looking good, right? You're probably borderline, or you're even less than borderline, or you're just slightly above borderline, but you're just actually struggling. And then you tell yourself, "Well, who even needs a distinction to be great in life? I can be great without a distinction. After all, there are people who didn't even go to the university and they're doing very, very well." Of course, that assertion is right. You don't need a distinction to be great in life. But then who says you cannot have a distinction and still be great in life, right? They're not mutually exclusive. You can still have this and have the other one if those are the things you really, really want. And when she said that, she had given out her CVs to people and they didn't get back to her, she didn't get any job, I could sense that level of disappointment, because it takes a lot of energy to do the same thing repeatedly and expect a different result, right? So you're probably reading the same number of hours and you're not getting the desired result. You're probably having your to-do list, arranging your day, you're trying to make sure that you meet up with the things you need to do. But at the end of the day, they are not adding up, right? It could come with a level of discouragement. It could come with that feeling of, "You know what, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't have to do this. What is mine will come to me." And that statement sounds like a very convenient way to throw in the towel and stop putting in efforts, because if you've convinced yourself that what is yours will come to you, then yeah, it's the job of that thing that is yours to find you. You don't have to put in any other efforts, right? That's how that statement sounds. But that's not how real life works, right? You have to put in effort to get things to come to you, because trust me, that thing you're looking for, there are so many other people who are looking for it. I know the emphasis is what is yours will come to you, but then how does that thing that is yours find you in the midst of other people who are also looking for what is theirs, right? So you have to actually do something that would enhance or enable that thing that is yours to actually find you. I know this is going to sound a bit more like motivational talk, and whichever way you identify with it, I hope you're able to understand the subtle message I'm trying to pass across. So when she was saying that to me, I was just thinking about how many times I'd given up on something I wanted because it didn't seem forthcoming. So I just convinced myself that, you know what, this is not for me, right? When I hadn't really put in the amount of effort I needed in order to get that thing that I want. While having that conversation with her, my eyes were being opened to a number of things that we did without even knowing. There's a level of frustration and disappointment that comes with doing something repeatedly and not getting the result that you expect. At some point, you're going to get really discouraged. At some point, you're just going to want to throw in the towel and say, you know what, I don't need this. It's not even important, right? But the truth is, these things are important to you. But life is not going to force itself on you. It's only when you start putting in effort to get the things you want out of life, that's actually when it would seem like the universe is conspiring to give you that exact same thing that you're looking for. So let's assume that all the beautiful things we want to achieve is like a house, like a very beautiful house, right? And all the efforts we're going to be putting in to get that house, they are bricks. So for each effort I put in, I'm laying a brick. And for the next effort, I'm laying another brick. And then one brick after the other. And before you know it, I have a house. So let's say I lay a brick and I put the other one on top of it, and I'm not getting a house. And I say, you know what? I don't even need a house, right? It doesn't make sense because all the effort I put in previously does not have any anterogate reward. So the only guarantee I have at getting a reward is actually to keep putting in effort, which is equivalent to these bricks that I'm laying. So let's say I've posted 40 videos on YouTube or 49 videos and I'm still below 1,000 subscribers. It's easy to say, I don't even need this YouTube actually. People who know my value are going to find me. I'm just going to be here doing my thing. While that would be right, the easiest way to let people know that you have so much value would be to constantly put yourself out there. So it could be your 50th video that could launch you into limelight. And I'm also saying this to myself. And let's say you've been putting your CV for job interviews and you haven't been called for anyone, or even when you're called, you're not being picked for the job. If you sent out 15 CVs, 20 CVs, who said that the 21st one isn't the one that would land you into the kind of job that you want? But let's say you just stop sending out your CVs and you just decide to stay back at home. The ones you sent out in the past that they've rejected, they aren't really going to change anything. It's more like work done equals to zero. You could even meet somebody who can link you up to your dream job at a job interview different from the job you're actually applying for. Life is dynamic. There isn't one size fits all. There isn't this formula like do it this way, and boom, you're going to get that result. Not exactly. So as a business person who wants a wider reach, it could mean that you may need to go out more often to network with people, to sell yourself, tell people the amazing things that you do. As a student who wants to come out top in their class, it could mean that you have to put in more effort in your academics. And even when it seems that the results are not paying off, rather than just saying, I'm not doing this again, I'm comfortable being on the 50 benchmark, it may mean that you have to just keep pushing regardless. So it could just mean different things for different people. But by and large, what is yours will not come to you if the only thing you do to make it come is say it. Even the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So it's beautiful to say it, to speak into existence the kind of things that you want. But then we cannot take away the place of work, the place where you actually have to put in the effort. And that is the difficult part. And it's that disappointment that just gets us to the point where we say, we don't want this anymore. For this person who is close to me, her fatigue came from sending out her CVs repeatedly and not getting results. So she just concluded that she doesn't have to send out her CVs anymore and that the job that is hers would find her in her house. So I don't know what it is for you that you've actually thrown in the towel in under the guise of what is mine would come to me. I don't know what it is that you really wanted to achieve in 2023, and towards the end of the year, you just told yourself that this isn't working and that you don't have to put in the effort again because what is yours would come to you. This video here is a cue for you to actually go back and start putting in efforts, because all the efforts you've put in are in the past, and if you don't keep putting in effort, it means that all the previous efforts you've put in is equal to zero. Except this is something you've really convinced yourself that you do not want, or maybe something you've been able to improvise and find a better way to go about, then that is fine. But sometimes we don't realize how close we are to success, how close we are to what we want to achieve, and then we give up. Of course, I also get the part where I don't know where to draw a line between how much is enough and how much requires more work, right? Like sometimes you put in effort, you're asking yourself, me not getting this, is it a sign that God doesn't want it from me? Or is it a sign for me to continue? So this one is an entirely different conversation for another day. But what I'm saying is that if there is something you want in life, if there is something you want to achieve, just know very well that that thing also wants you to have it. But then you have to put in the effort. What is yours will only come to you when you put in the effort that allows it to identify you. And then there are people who are being told that they are born into greatness, or that their future is going to be very bright, and that they are stars and all of those. But then when they're looking at their lives, they're not seeing the commensurate results. They're not seeing things that are in line with these things that they've heard about themselves. The number of things that play out or that cause our lives to turn in a certain way or to be in a certain way. But one thing is certain, that the Creator, who is God, has beautiful and amazing plans for us, for every single one of us. Now, what differentiates what this person's life turns out to be, or what this other person's life turns out to be, to an extent is dependent on the decisions these people make or the things they do with their lives, right? But by and large, I don't think there are people who are destined for failure, or there are people who are destined not to succeed. I just feel like everybody has something that they've been created to do amazingly well. This is what you now do with that gift, or what you now do with that talent, that makes a difference or affects what your life is going to be. So the story of Ojo and Haman is more of a reflection of the fact that we are not helpless in the face of fate. That once we put in the work and once we put in the effort, that we can turn the tides of our lives. So yes, what is yours will come to you. It should come to you, and I hope it does. But it doesn't come without you working. There is always a place of you putting in effort. And effort does not just come as hard work. Of course, hard work I feel like is core effort. But then there are other things that come along with it, like prayer, like discipline, like being sensitive to your environment, like putting yourself out there. Because the truth is, nobody knows all the amazing things you can do except you start doing them, or you tell them that you can do those things. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that, yes, I have said this over and over, what is yours is looking for you. But it's going to only find you while you're working, while you're doing the amazing things you're able to do. It's not going to find you if you're just seated in your house and not doing anything and hoping that it's going to come knocking on your door. But I don't know how we're able to just ignore all these things in practical terms and just jump into the conclusion that what is ours will find us, regardless of whether or not we put in effort. I don't know how we were able to get that into our head. But I hope that in this video you're able to understand and make commensurate effort. And I hope that your efforts actually pay off, and that in the future you're going to come back and be really, really grateful that you put in the effort that you required to get to where you want to be. So while I try to round up this video, I know I usually ask people to subscribe to my channel, like the video, share, and do all those cliche things. But this is going to be a big difference. I'm going to be making a request. The request will be that you go back to the things you wrote down at the beginning of this year, the things you wanted to achieve, and look at some of the things that you struck out, or some of the things you convinced yourself that you do not want to do again, that you didn't have to put in effort towards getting, because what is yours would find you, and start putting in effort to get those things, right? Especially if these things are things that are attainable within the time frame that you have. So yeah, that's my request, and I would really appreciate if you did that. Thank you very much for watching this video. What is yours is looking for you, but you also have to put in the effort to let it find you. Take care of yourself, and see you in my next video.